Hello again, welcome back. This is all about stamping, an introduction to stamping. I actually did this video yesterday, and as I was playing it back, it was absolute gobbledygook. It was just rubbish. For a start, I wasn't explaining myself very well, and secondly, nothing went right. As you can see, that didn't go right at all. And that's just, well, no. So I thought I would write down what I want to say this time, be a bit more organised, and just introduce you to the basics of stamping. This is not going to be what you can do with your stamps in the sense of creating beautiful backgrounds or pictures or scenes or anything like that. It's just basically what are stamps and how to use them. So stamps come in different forms. There's this one. These ones, like your red rubber stamps, I haven't used. I love this. This is vintage. I love my vintage stamps, but I haven't used very many of these, and they sort of come like that, and you just take them out and use them like that, and they're very easy to clean just with a little bit of water and a cloth. I just generally spray a bit of water on here and just clean them before I put them back into here. What other ones do we have? We have these ones like the clear stamps. You can get ones with sentiments and pictures and backgrounds and all sorts on. So I tend to keep mine still inside the plastic covers, because just if they get dust on them, they can lose the stickiness. They come with two pieces of plastic there, but one side of these you can always see what's on them, so you can pick one off easily. Always keep the other cover on, just to stop them getting dirty. Some people like to put two pieces of sellotape on the top, just so they can open and close them like that, so they don't get dirty, which I think is a really good idea. I should start doing that really, because these go missing. Don't even ask me how, but these go missing. So to take off a stamp, it's literally peel it off. And to apply a stamp, if you're going to practice, just use printer paper. Don't use your good cardstock. So there are various ways of stamping. If you're really desperate, you can put your ink on there and just stamp it with your hands, but I wouldn't recommend that, to be honest. So this is a stamping block. You can get all different sizes. You can get different sizes. You can get quite thick ones as well, but the cheap ones are just as good as any to get the job done. So what you would do, pick out the block that goes with your stamp. You don't want anything too big. So when you put it down, the flat side has to go down onto the block or whatever you're using, and it'll stay there. It's sticky. Sometimes you might want to press it down to get rid of any air bubbles or anything like that. You can apply the ink in two ways. You can do that with the ink, or you can do that if you have a bigger stamp with the ink and the ink pad doesn't fit. You can stamp it all over like that. It's entirely up to you which one you do. I actually prefer to do it like that. Now this is a fine line stamp, so we just want to do light taps. We don't want to, I'll show you what happens if we press it down too hard and then press it on the paper, wiggle it about, give it a good, see, you can see that it doesn't look right. It's too thick in some places and thin in others. So I'll just give this a wipe down. So what you want to do, and it gets on the top as well, so if you press it too hard, all of these little bits around the edges are going to get on your paper as well. So what you should do is just gentle presses. Don't do it, you do want plenty of ink on there, but you don't want too much on that it's going to smudge. Hold it on for a few seconds. You see, I'm pleased that's happened, because I'm going to show you why I don't use this method very often. So if you were to try and re-stamp that, put a little bit more on, you could, no matter how careful you are, the chances are you're not going to be able to get it quite right, you see. So it's either going to smudge or it's going to be out of alignment. That's no good for me. So what I like to use now, this is not going to be a budget video for this very reason, because stamps are expensive, inks can be expensive, and this definitely is expensive. This is a stamping platform. I couldn't do without my stamping platform, and I'll show you why. There are different types you can get, there are different sizes. The reason I got this is my Sizzix one. The reason I got this is because it can be a stencil holder as well. So you put your stencils in there, you get a special holder, and you put stencils in there. But that's a tutorial for another time. So to use it as a stamping platform, you put the lid on, you get, where are we, I'll just get something like that, something that's being used. So you would just line it up, you would put your stamp on wherever you want it on your card or whatever you're making. Then you don't need that stamp block anymore. Then you bring the lid over, press it down. Now this is going to be stamped because I didn't clean the ink off properly, but never mind, because that's actually fine. So if you stamp on a stamping platform and it looks like that and it hasn't worked, the beauty of the platform is, can you see that? I'm stamping that again. It's out of shot at the minute. But you can do it again and again and again, and it'll just stamp in exactly the same place. So that is absolutely, this is essential for me to use a stamping platform. I couldn't do without one. So it obviously it needs cleaning and everything. And to clean it, you can just put a square bit of water on your cloth and clean it. I'll just do that now. Have I got water in here? Yeah. And because it gets all over the place, the ink. But if you clean up as you go along, you don't have a ton of them to clean at the end when you've finished your project. So there, that's turned out pretty good. I mean, it's just cheap ink and cheap stamps that I'm using, so I'm not going to complain about that at all. But that is your stamping platform. I am so pleased. That has saved so many projects and so much money over the months. I haven't been doing this for very long. So to put your stamps back, you can just see where it goes. That obviously goes there. So you just make sure it's the right way. Put it back on, and then you turn it over and they're all in the right place again. And then put that back on, and then put them back into whatever storage that you're using. Right, what else was I going to mention? Oh yes, you can get stamp and die sets. I've done a beginner video about using die cutting machines. So you can also get, this is just one of a few that I have, you can get stamp and die sets. So you get a stamp, you get a die that goes with it. So you stamp this on your card or your paper or whatever, and then you put the die over it and then cut it out, and you are left with, this is using different ones than that. So this, I use a stamp and die set for that and this. So the stamp was the black lines of this foliage, and the die was exactly the same shape. And I just cut it out using my, what do you call it? My Craft Buddy little die cutting machine. So this was taken from a piece of cardstock. This was just, you don't have to have it on a white background, you can have it on any background you like, you can use whatever colour card you like. I've coloured this using alcohol pens, alcohol markers, so it will show through on the back, but if this is going to be placed on a card topper, on another piece of card, you're not going to see it. I mean, you could put something in there, you could put another flower in there, you could put a sentiment in there, you can do all sorts with them really, but they're so handy because I am no good at fussy cutting. I would not be able to cut out that shape and not have it look ridiculous because I can't cut to save my life. So to colour this, there are different ways to colour, and I'm not going to go into all of the different ways or the different things you can use to colour your stamps when you've stamped them, because there are so many ingenious ways to do backgrounds and to do all kinds. This one I just used colouring pencils, just have a colouring pencil set. It was quite big, and I enjoyed it. It's quite therapeutic, just colouring away there. This one I used alcohol markers. Now I do have a lot of alcohol marker pens. I've got a big box over there that's just under a load of stuff, but I have 3 boxes of these, the Nuvo alcohol markers. I'll just take one out and show you. So this one, most alcohol markers will have a large like marker style and a thinner one there. Now the thinner one is the one I normally use, but it's still a bit too thick for colouring in this. As you can see, I have gone over the edges. I don't know what happened to that bit, don't even ask. I have gone over the lines in a few places, but I still think it looks really nice. You get lovely, nice, vibrant colours when you use your alcohol markers. I just think they're lovely and I love using them. But you do use them in a ventilated room because the fumes can get a bit much. But yeah, I mean, if you have a steady hand, if you have like quite a thin point on your marker, whatever you're using, you can use Sharpies, you know, you can use just about all sorts. So just colour them in the way you want. What else? You can use paint. Acrylics are really good. You can even use a small on a surface, like a rubber surface or a glass surface. I have this is a Tim Holtz like crafting mat. You could get your ink, you could put it on the mat, and then you can use it as like a watercolour paint. I'll show you how to do that another time, because the colouring and everything in different mediums to colour is a different video altogether, but they're just different things that you can use to colour your stamps. Right, yes, that's what I was going to show you. If I can find it. Yeah, this is ideal for what I want to show you now. I love this, absolutely love this die set, but it did not turn out right yesterday, so let us hope that it goes a bit better today. So, some of your stamps are going to have, excuse me, that's gone completely wrong, of course. Right, so some of your stamps are quite solid, and some of them have thin lines, even thinner than this, with your sentiments and everything like that. So this is going to be the Hedgehog's body. You give it a good press down, make sure you get it. I mean, this is cheap ink, it's probably not going to cover as well as some of the other inks I have in there, but it works well enough. So giving that a really good, which way should it be? Right, so now you can put it down there, press it, give it a good press. You can use any colour you want, that'll do. I'll clean that later. Right, and then this is the one that goes there. So this one is just going to be the black lines. So I wouldn't, like I said before, I wouldn't stamp this too hard. Just make sure that you're stamping it gently several times to make sure you have everything covered. This is not going to work because I'm using the wrong stamp for this. I'll do it upside down. I can never get this right. But anyway, stamp it on like that and just hold it for a few seconds. And how cute is that? I have used these before. That's how it went yesterday. That was just, never mind. But that's stamped up like so much better. So what you could do is get your colouring pencils or your marker pens and just colour in a little bit around the face and everything. But that's so cute. And you can have them sort of facing each other as well, because there are two stamps and they're both opposite, facing the opposite way. So you could have two hedgehogs facing each other. But anyway, so just remember your solid stamps, you'll be able to tell what they are because there are no lines or anything on them like that. So your solid stamps, get plenty of ink there squashed on. For your lines, like your sentiments and anything that needs sort of delicate lines, just stamp it a lot, but very lightly, so you're not going to get that smudging. And if you want to make it easier to clean, just stamp it off again. And then a bit of water for your water-based inks, just a bit of water, get it cleaned, and then you can just put it back. So what else did I want to tell you? That's it. Sometimes you can get stamp sets where you can build a scene. So for instance, this one has got what I call a mummy seal and a baby seal, and it's got these little puddles there, you can see, and it's got little trees and snowflakes and little bits on the ground. It's got some lovely sentiments. So you could actually build a scene from just using these stamps. I'll see if I can find a video that I'll be able to show you much better. There is a video I've seen before using this stamp set, and they made an absolutely beautiful scene for a greeting card. It was gorgeous. So I think that's all I wanted to tell you, because this is literally just an introduction to stamping if you've never done it before, or if you're a bit nervous about doing it. But what I do suggest is, if, say, you're going to make a greeting card, I don't know, 6x4 or 5x4, whatever, cut a piece of printer paper the same size, put on your sentiment and your stamp or whatever you want to use to make sure that it's going to look right. In fact, if I were you, I would cut a load of printer paper the sizes that you'll want to use, and practice before you use anything, before you do anything on your good cardstock. Make sure you've practiced first on your printer paper, just to make sure that it's going to look right, that your colours and your stamping and everything's going to go together and everything's going to look okay. Because that's the mistake that I tend to make. I just tend to build straight in with my cardstock and then make a mistake, and then that's, I mean, I put it in the recycle bin, but it is a waste of money. And you don't want to be wasting money, because, to be honest, crafting can be an expensive business anyway. And, oh, there was one thing I wanted to mention. So if you have vintage paper like this, people love vintage stuff. Journalists love vintage stuff. It's this one I showed you at the beginning. So what you can do, what I've started doing there, is just stamping sort of little bits from here, stamping little bits on there, just to give it, what you can do is absolutely fill this up. I've seen some beautiful projects where somebody, a journaler, has taken a piece of paper like this and just filled it with these little stamps. So putting the ink on, stamping it off, and then stamping it a few times on this, and just absolutely filling it with all of these beautiful vintage stamps. This isn't the only one I've got. I have quite a few of these. The Stampers Anonymous, the Tim Holtz collection, are absolutely amazing. This was Eccentric. There are so many different types you can get, and they're all really good quality. I actually, if I had a choice, I actually prefer the clear stamps, because you can see what you're doing a bit better, but these are excellent quality. And I love the vintage style, and you can just stamp all over with different ones, and it's a really good look for vintage journaling and things like that. But whatever you want to do, whatever style you like, just make it your own. Do what you want to do. Don't be frightened to experiment with your stamps and your inks, because there are different kinds of inks out there. There are waterproof inks, the glitter inks. There are so many things you can do, and so many different things you can do with different stamps and with your colouring mediums. Just experiment. Do not be afraid to experiment. Just use your printer paper and just go crazy. Just do what you want to do, and if it doesn't work, you've learned something from that. If it does work, you've found something new for yourself, and you can be proud of that. So have a go, don't be afraid. I hope this has been useful. I really, really appreciate anybody who watches my videos, especially watching them through to the end, because it really does help. Subscribe and comment and liking, it all helps my channel. So thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye now.